Good evening and welcome. I'm Chris Parnell.
Reporting from Moscow.
Tbilisi.
Times Square.
May your dreams be your only boundaries in life.
Welcome to Inspiring Leaders. I'm Donna Chandler Newman, your host for our show, and thank you for watching our program. Through this show, we meet community leaders and we examine how they're using their unique talents and skill sets to make a difference. And through our discussions, we hope to inspire others to discover and to share their own leadership abilities for the overall betterment of our community. Now, today's show is about an organization that serves. Once called the Shelby Residential Vocational Services, this organization is now simply named SRVS, pronounced SERVS. And what an appropriate name, as SERVS works to enhance the lives of people with disabilities in a very unique and comprehensive way. In this first portion of our show, we'll meet John Barziza and Galen Booker, both members of the Board of Directors of SERVS. And in our second segment of our show, we'll continue visiting with John and we'll be joined by Anthony Hicks, the Director of Public Relations for SERVS. Joining us now are John Barziza and Galen Booker, board members of SERVS. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Donna.
Thank you so much for coming today. Okay, John, let's start with you. John, I know that you had a very, very long extensive business background, a long career with your own company.
Right.
And now you serve as a Germantown alderman. Thank you very much for your service. But tell me, how in the world did you become associated with SERVS and why SERVS?
Well, actually, I had my older son, John Jr., was at Arlington Developmental Center. And he was there about 7 years. And when Arlington was mandated to close by the federal courts, John was in the first wave of people to be released. I got a call from an outreach person from the state, asked me what I thought about SERVS as the place for John to go to live in a residential setting.
Oh, that's
how it happened.
That's your very first association with
First association with SERVS. I actually never heard of them until that day. And so John moved into a home, and he's been in that same home now for the last 23 years.
That's wonderful. I'm glad you're still associated with them. I know they are. Now, Galen, you also have been with SERVS for a while. You have a very long, extensive business background as well, and this is a volunteer position. Tell me how you became affiliated with SERVS.
Well, like John, I have a son with developmental disabilities, and he stayed in the public school system until he was 22, and then needed a place to provide some services for him. And on an airplane on the way back from Washington, D.C., I met a fellow who was serving on the board of SERVS at that time, and he began to give me some orientation both about the organization and about my need to be serving on that board. So I became affiliated shortly thereafter and have been there ever since.
Well, you know, you guys have both also served as the chairman of the board of that director. Each of you have served in that position before.
I have not served as chairman. I've just been a long-time member of the board.
Ah, okay. That's sorry, my misunderstanding. But I will say that you've both been there for a very long time, so you know an awful lot about the history of the organization. Tell me about the history of SERVS.
Galen?
Well, SERVS came into existence out of a merger between the SOS Industries, an occupational shelter shop, which began in 1962, and Mark Services, which was organized in 1973. And I believe it was 1984 that all of that merger came together under the auspices of Shelby, the SOS or SERVS at the time, Shelby Residential and Vocational Services. And as you indicated earlier, has now become SERVS.
And that's a wonderful, wonderful organization. So you've been around for quite a while, and so talk a little bit about your mission. What is the mission of the organization?
Go ahead, Ted.
Well, the mission is to enhance the lives of people with disabilities in a way that brings satisfaction both to the individual and their families, and to provide an unmatched return on investment to our benefactors.
I see.
We serve as an extension of the state. There's state facility. There were state facilities like Arlington Developmental Center across the state that have all closed. But as a result of the closure, SRVS actually took on about 125, 135 people from Arlington. And in the process, what we do is provide services for those people plus about, well, we have around 1,000 now. We actually have 1,200 because of the various programs that we have, all total.
So you serve 1,200 people?
So we serve 1,200 people, but just within the last couple of years, we acquired Special Kids and Families, and we call it now SRVS Kids and Families, so that's one of our departments, if you will, and we serve the needs of not only developmentally disabled children from 2 to 4, but normal traditional children, and it's in a very integrated program for preschoolers, and it's at the Independent Presbyterian Church.
Which is good for both the people with disabilities as well as the mainstream children.
Right, and
correct?
so we get them prepared for either public school or Madonna Learning Center or some other program such similar, and then once they age out of the school system or age out of their respective private schools, and then we basically pick them up again, and that's basically where the vast majority of our clients, if you will, come from. They're people who are adults, so we have roughly 950 to 1,000 adults in varying degrees of disabilities.
So what age range are we serving here?
So we're serving people from 2 to geriatric.
Well, that's amazing, and that honestly is what differentiates you to a large degree, isn't it?
Yes, and plus the fact that we have so many different programs. We're residential, we have a learning center, we have an employment program. I mentioned the Special Kids and Families program. And it's just with all of the various programs, we're the most comprehensive agency in the state and the largest agency in the state.
Well, talk about that Learning Center. Isn't that what I toured the other day?
Yes.
Yes. Talk about the Learning Center and what all is there and what exactly are you teaching?
Well, we're doing things a whole lot differently than we did in the past. And we're using the Montessori technique of teaching in the Learning Center. And it's proven to be very successful. And before we started that, it was basically the blocks in the appropriate places, pegs and so on and so forth. But now it's more directed to each individual, and we've done a better job in studying and learning each individual's needs and setting up an educational plan that is second to none.
And so what's important about that is that the entire thing is completely geared toward each individual person, as you said.
Correct.
Okay, so that's also very different from other programs around.
Correct.
Okay, but you do more than that. You also have homes. Talk about the homes.
We have probably about 60 homes across the county, and I think 1 or 2 outside of Shelby County, but still within the state of Tennessee. And vast majority of them are waiver funded, and we have 48 people in 8 group homes that are ICF homes, which are funded very similar to nursing homes.
But the purpose of these homes, many of these homes, is to help the people with disabilities live on their own. Is that correct?
Well, it depends on the type of home we're talking about.
Okay.
The ICF homes are primarily inhabited by the people that came from Arlington. Some of them have some severe behavioral issues, and as well as, and on top of that, could have some serious health issues as well. We've got some individuals who are on feeding tubes. We have individuals who are real keen on just running out of the building, you know, and so we can't lock the door. So these types of individuals, we have to have in those homes one-on-one care for them.
But in the 60 homes, the people live pretty much on their own, do they not, and go out to jobs?
Well, they all have round-the-clock care, 24-hour care. But some of them do go to work every day. Some of them don't. It depends on their level of disability, both mental and physical. So if you ask, what's the typical home like, there probably is no typical home. They're all sort of designed to take care of the needs of the person or the persons living there.
But the goal is that they can live as independently as they are able to do. Is
Correct.
that
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
And going out to work on their own, that is wonderful, isn't it? I mean, isn't that great for the individual as well as the community?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's been fabulous. We've had a number of people in the workplace over the years, and we had the sheltered workshop as well, SOS shop, and we actually at one point in time had 3 of them, 3 locations.
Wow.
And then over the years, as people aged out or passed away, what have you, we were just down to the 1. And the federal government, Department of Justice, has decided that there'd be no more sheltered workshops that are funded by the federal government. So what we did at SRVS is we created a very extensive training program to prepare the individuals who are working in the shop to go into the workplace, to prepare themselves emotionally, because they were leaving their friends at the shop. And it was not just a place to go every day to work. It was their social life.
Yeah.
But to prepare them in that respect to go out in the community to feel good about themselves going out into the community, and a lot of them have done an absolutely outstanding job. And
that's not just people with disabilities. For many of us, our work is our social life, and we all feel good about the work that we do. So that's a wonderful thing as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So that's rewarding for them. So I'm sure that you've had a number of success stories, and that's got to be very rewarding for you. Tell me about a success story. Who's the person who's really come a long way and learned a lot and gone to live on their own?
Well, there's one individual that sticks out. He works at Miss Cordelia's, and he was also working. Miss Cordelia's is over on Mud Island.
Yes.
And he was also working at the shop once he left Miss Cordelia's. He was very withdrawn.
Oh, wow.
And now he just loves to be involved.
And so he's. And I'm sure
and very articulate now.
Well, that's wonderful. And the feeling that Miss Cordelia's gets and everyone who shops there has got to be great.
Without doubt.
And also, I would think it's rewarding for him. I am so glad that you're both on to the show today. Thank you so much for joining us. John, stay right here.
Thank you.
Galen, thank you so much for being here today. And we'll come back and talk just a minute again, some more about SRVS.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Now we're going to pause now for a short break, and when we return, we'll continue talking with John. We'll be joined by Anthony Hicks, the Director of Public Relations for SRVS.
Welcome to Germantown High School, an international baccalaureate creative and performing arts optional school, a destination school for students who are going places.
Our students are of the highest caliber when it comes to their academics and knowledge.
The IB program is a very rigorous program.
You were challenged in a way that you thought you couldn't be challenged. You succeeded, something that other kids may not have thought they could do.
They're accepted to colleges that are just, dream colleges for so many people.
Germantown High School offers a CAPA program, the Creative and Performing Arts program.
When I first came here, I saw the television studio and I was just amazed at what all I saw.
Kids do everything, that they're taught every detail that has to do with theater arts and creative arts.
I love a lot of things about Germantown High School, but primarily what I love is the athletics. There's something exciting around every single corner.
We probably are one of the most diverse high schools in the state of Tennessee, maybe the United States.
I would never doubt about sending your child to Germantown High School.
This high school is something not like any other high school that we have.
There's definitely fun in the work. We find fun in everything we do.
Welcome back. We're pleased to continue our discussion with John Barziza, board member, and to be joined by Anthony Hicks, Director of Public Relations of SRVS. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us also, Anthony, and thanks for staying, John.
Thank you.
Now, Anthony, okay, so you've been in business for quite a long time. How in the world did you become associated with SRVS, and are you enjoying your job as Public Relations Director there?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I became aware of SRVS through a family member who worked there prior to me going there, my sister. So SRVS has been a part of my family, more or less, for quite a while.
And so, how long have you been there now?
5 years.
5 years. So that's enough time to make a bit of an impact, right?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. It's a great organization that you really want to make an impact for.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, there's so many places to go to work in town, and there's over 3,000 nonprofits in the area. And I know before this you weren't in a nonprofit, you were in a banking industry.
Mm-hmm.
But so why SRVS particularly? What do you see and what attracted you?
Well, I think SRVS gives you an opportunity, and I think you could probably say this for most nonprofits. Nonprofits give you an opportunity to make an impact, a personal impact on people's actual lives. Mm-hmm. And as was mentioned earlier, SRVS takes care of about 1,000 people, a little over 1,000 people. So that of varying degrees of disabilities. So you get to meet people, you get to know people, and you get to see behind the disability.
You know, when I came to visit you and talked before our interview today, you mentioned to me what you thought was the mission of SRVS, and you encapsulated it beautifully. Would you share that with us?
Well, SRVS is about helping people thrive, helping people live a more meaningful and fulfilled life. Now, we are very strong adherents to a person-centered philosophy. Mm-hmm. That means people with disabilities absolutely have the right, have an opportunity to make their own decisions, have a say in their own care. So we're very strong adherents to that, but also it's very important now, even probably more so than ever in the disability service industry, that we make sure that people have an opportunity to thrive in their own communities.
That's wonderful. Okay, and as independently as possible, right?
Absolutely.
You know, this organization's been around an awfully long time, and it's grown over time. Can you talk about that with us, how much the organization's developed, John?
Well, as Galen said, you know, various organizations came together in '88. I joined, like I said earlier too, that I joined the board 23 years ago, and wasn't too terribly long after that I became board chair, but it was my mission to try to develop a better board than what we had, and I'm not saying it was the people, it was the circumstances we were in. We were at that time under a block grant umbrella, if you will, and so at the end of the year, if there was surplus, you know, that went against the next year's budget. With the Arlington court case, every individual had his own individual rate. So SRVS grew dramatically as a result of not only the people, but the services that were offered, and that had to be offered as far as nursing services, physical therapy, and so on, psychological as well. And so we grew from $17 million to $34 million in a period of about 3 years as far as our budget's concerned.
Oh my gracious.
We were in a 3,800 square foot building, 38,000 square foot building, 4-story office building that we rapidly outgrew because with all of those services we had to have people, and with those people we had to have offices. With those offices we were even using a room that had a deep sink and put a desk in there, you know, so but during the P&E process through the Grant Center, as it was back in the day, my friend Leo Arnold put that program together, and really appreciate us being involved in that first program. And it taught me how to help manage the organization in a better way, have to build a better board, and so on and so forth.
So how many people are on the board now? What exactly does the board do?
We have roughly 25 people on the board currently, voting members. Mm-hmm. It's the biggest it's ever been. We also have probably 15 to 17 people who are on the advisory board like Galen. who have been around for quite a while, and we just don't want to cut them loose.
Can't say that I blame you. So their responsibilities.
We have, yes, every board member has a responsibility. Every board member is on a committee. And I personally, I'm on the development, I'm chairman of the development committee. And so I have 4 other persons on that committee with me, and my role is to, and our role is to assist in development, fundraising, that kind of thing. The second time I was board chair, I also ran a capital campaign, which got us into a 84,000 square foot building where we are today. It gave us a whole lot more space, and so our people would have at least a warm and healthy work environment. And also, as we mentioned, it's also the same location as our learning center.
You know, it was truly enjoyable touring your learning center. I don't think that I understood just how much you did until I went over there. And the people that were coming and going, I happened to come during, I guess, the end of the class day. And I remember seeing some of the people who were leaving and their parents looked so grateful for what you do. And the people with disabilities who were, do you call them class members or your patients that are there?
We call them just individuals.
Well,
or persons being served.
They were the kindest and lovely, and willing to help. And I really was impressed. They're learning life lessons. They had music. You had a music room. You had so much that was there. That is the center of many of their universes, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
and we're doing more now, Donna, to make sure that we have people, as I mentioned a minute ago about community, we're doing much more now to make sure that we have people out in the community doing things, making sure that they have an opportunity to matriculate, associate with people who don't have a disability.
That's good, and honestly, it's good for both sides.
Absolutely.
I mean, it helps people who don't have a disability understand what others are dealing with and how to, what they're coping with, and that's a good thing too. So talk a little bit. You talked a minute ago about the budget. Boy, that's a big budget. I know that a lot of it has come from from the government in many ways. However, I'm sure that doesn't cover all of it. You have a number of events. Tell us about your upcoming events.
Well, we've got, I would say, probably 3 major events that we're doing this year. And the first one is coming up. It's going to be our SRVS Kids and the Family Bunny Run. And that is going to be March 26th at Cancer Survivors Park over by the Botanic Gardens. So it's a beautiful day. The weather's usually great. We're actually looking for runners, so if runners interested in joining us that day, we'd love to have you. But it's a fundraiser for our children's program. We also have an annual golf tournament, the SRVS Westbury Memorial Golf Classic, and that'll be on April 11th. And the namesake of that classic, and we talk about support, board support. Fred Westbury was just a staunch supporter of SRVS, and so that's named after him. He was an avid golfer. Again, that's April 11th. And of course, our marquee event, which will be the Spirit of SRVS, Wine Tasting Auction Gala, that will be August 20th.
Okay, let's go back to the Bunny Run. That's coming up quickly. So what you need for the Bunny Run, you need runners.
Right.
Do you need volunteers too?
I think we may need volunteers. That's another department, but
completely and totally. But we need runners, and we need people to participate, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And for a very, very fine cause.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Now, the golf tournament is April 11th. You said?
That's right. Yes.
Okay, and where is that again?
That would be at Ridgeway Country Club.
At Ridgeway Country Club, and so you need golfers.
Golfers,
absolutely.
You need golfers to help support that. Now, talk about your big event, because that's been going on for a while.
The Spirit of SRVS,
that's John's baby.
That's been my baby. This is our 18th event. We've done it 18 straight years, and the first one was at the Union Planters Bank building over on Poplar, and we had 87 people there.
Oh my gracious.
And that's including volunteers.
It's come a lot further than that.
And we raised about $10,000.
Oh my.
And last year was the largest. We had over 850 people at the Hilton, and we raised just above $200,000.
Wow. And so that's beautiful.
It's a wine tasting auction, silent auction, live auction. We have entertainment from the company D Dancers. They're a group of young folks that are affected. They're people being served, and a good many of them go to Madonna Learning Center. And so they entertain us, and we have some of the people that we serve sing, and they're actually quite good. And we have other entertainment as well.
Well, you know, but it's wonderful to see the people that you're, you know, serving and help to support are coming out to entertain and to get to know you, and you to know them too. That's wonderful.
That you know, initially, kind of in the back of my mind, when we didn't have a public relations department, the first few Spirit of Serves was the beginning of a trying to get the community aware of who we were, who we, and as it's evolved and has the development department is evolved today. I mean, we had one person spending half of his or her time on development and public relations. Today we have probably, how many, Anthony? About six people in the department. And it's been very worthwhile. And Anthony is the latest major hire, even though it's been 5 years. He's proved himself. Believe me, he's done an incredible job.
I'm sure he has. You know, and honestly, you've got a great organization to sell. You've got a good story to tell, don't you? It's come such a long way. So you've got just a few seconds left here. Tell me this, what's your big wish for coming up for Serves? Biggest wish?
Biggest wish is to ensure that everybody stays healthy and happy, number one. Number two, that we do have about 1,000 people who are on the waiting list for services. Actually, it's about 1,200 overall. 200 of them are for community services, community living services, and others just for family support, about 1,000 for
well,
family
I thank
support.
you guys for the wonderful work you do. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's been our pleasure.
Well, thank you for sharing the story of Serves.
Thank you much.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us today for Inspiring Leaders. We appreciate our guests on today's show, all from the Serves organization, John Barziza and Galen Booker, both members of the Board of Directors, and Anthony Hicks, Director of Public Relations. If what you've heard on our program today has inspired you to become more involved with Serves, then please visit their website, srvs.org, serves.org. If you're interested in the air dates of Inspiring Leaders or of our station, or if you'd like to see our station's complete programming guide, you can visit GHS-TV.org, where we're streaming live 24 hours a day. You can keep up with GHS-TV by visiting our website. We hope you'll like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Thank you again for joining us, and be sure and watch our show, Inspiring Leaders, again next month.